Nirmala Sitharaman has one of the toughest jobs in the world. She is the captain of the world's fourth largest economy, and all eyes are on her to see how quickly she can take it to the third spot. And she has to do this at a time when there is great geopolitical upheaval and the disruption of AI is coming. In her ninth budget today, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman laid out her plan on how and where she wants to steer the economy for the next 1 year. Hello and welcome to another episode of Editor's Take, where we will discuss and dissect the budget today with Outlook Business Editor Neeraj Thakur. Mr. Thakur, what do you think is the biggest headline from today's budget? What do you think the government is signaling that its main economic priorities are?
See, Deep, if you look at the headline from the budget that comes out is that of fiscal prudence and focus on manufacturing. Why fiscal prudence? Because if you look at the current global environment, the government is very conscious about the fact that if any kind of an investment goes wrong, and if government of India takes too much of loans on its balance sheet, it may backfire in the medium to long run. That's why the government has ensured, just like previous years, that despite the fact that India requires to invest a lot of money in different sectors, it has ensured that its fiscal deficit remains on target. Last year we were at 4.4%. This year the target has been set at 4.3%. This despite the fact that the government actually had announced tax cuts on GST plus tax cuts for the middle class last year. So it actually shows that even though the government is actually focusing on a lot of sectors in giving different kind of exemptions to sectors, but the government has ensured that fiscally they are on the right track and they will not be surpassing their limits.
An important theme in the economic survey was that the manufacturing sector and exports will determine India's trajectory hereon. Do you think the government has done enough to that extent?
Yes, Deep. See, if you just look at the budget, the government has announced a 40,000 crore scheme for electronics manufacturing sector. Then they have given some exemptions for different capital goods sector as well. So government is very sure about the fact that they want to improve their manufacturing game, and without that they would not be able to hold on to the what is happening at the global stage. If you look at negotiations with European Union or US or even China, everywhere the government goes, they find it very difficult to negotiate deals, simply because we are not in the manufacturing game, despite the fact that we have been trying it for many years. So this year government has ensured that they've actually emphasized upon the fact that we need to focus on manufacturing. The economic survey, if you look at it, that also focus on the fact that unless and until the government of India increases its performance in the manufacturing goods sector, they would not be able to protect the valuation of rupee in the forex market. And that's why the government has actually focused only on manufacturing, and every kind of exemption that has been given, it has been given to ensure that be it pharmaceutical sector or SME sector, where we are trying to give credit to the SMEs to ensure that they have credit in their hand to become champions and be able to compete with larger firms in terms of manufacturing. So the government has been very sure that if there is one sector that it needs to support, that's the manufacturing sector. Apart from that, there has been some focus on improving the cities of India. For example, if you just look at incentive given to municipalities for raising municipality bonds, and they would be giving them 100 crore rupees of incentive if they on the bond issue of 1,000 crore. So more or less, these are the common sectors where the government has focused upon, and that will play out throughout the year, because unless and until we increase the share of manufacturing in India's overall GDP, it would be very difficult for India to achieve its long-term targets.
Now, one of the things that people most look forward to in the budget is tax changes. So, what do you think are the biggest, most important tax changes in today's budget?
See, if you're just looking at the personal income tax rate, the government has not made any such changes because what the government gave to the middle class last year, this year it was not going to come because the government took a hit on its revenues. Similarly, just a few months before the budget, the government gave Diwali bonanza in the form of GST cuts that also increases common man's purchasing power. So, no such thing as tax exemptions to the common man. However, at the same time, the government actually has tried to garner some more resources for itself because one thing that was pointed out in the economic survey as well, that India's cost of capital is very high, and the cost of capital, for that cost of capital to go down, India will have to improve its resources. The government will have to generate resources without taking too many borrowings on its balance sheet. And that's why if you just look at the STT, which has been increased by on FNO, the government is trying to generate some resources for itself. Plus at the same time, the government also wanted to crack down on the kind of retail investment that was going into F&O, because that was a feedback from various economists that retail investors are getting caught in the frenzy of F&O market, and government wanted to curtail that thing. So that's why equities, futures and options, they face the a tax increase in the range of 50 to 150%.
One of the most important things in discussion today is AI. The economic survey also talked at length about what AI will do to the labor force, to the economy. Do you think the government has given enough on AI in this budget?
Well, if you just look at the AI per se, there is no such announcement as such, but the tax benefits that have been given to data centers, tax holiday till 2047, it is part of the AI game that the government is planning. Plus, the government is actually setting up institutes and investing in the creators economy, which in a way is connected to the AI game, because a lot of creators would be using the AI to create content, and the government knows that these are the new age jobs that would be there, that needs to be created. So be it in the sector of GCCs that get a better deal in terms of safe harbor, and the tax exemption provided to the data centers, because government wants to attract more FDI, more foreign resources coming India's way, and that can only happen if the foreign companies, they have assurance that even if their bets go wrong, they will not be taxed to an extent that they incur losses. So that kind of safety provision has been provided by the government, and I would say this is what the government has done on the front of AI.
In the economic survey, the chief economic advisor made a comment that countries are increasingly doing economic statecraft as there is a broader realignment in geopolitics happening. Do you think there is enough in today's announcement that could be called economic statecraft?
If you look at the announcement on the rare earth corridor, that is where that statecraft lies, because if you look at globally, every country which is in the fray of be it AI or defense sector, rare earth is the game, and India lacks the capacity to mine as well as refine rare earth material, and government of India has been cognizant of this fact that we need to have that industry in India, so that we are not reliant on China or other countries for rare earth material. And that's why the government has decided that it will establish rare earth corridors within the country, and it would be part of a larger geopolitical game, which has allowed China to negotiate a better deal with the US, because the US has been threatening every nation with different kind of tariffs. At one point in time, the US was threatening China with very high tariffs as well, but they had to take that threat back. But that has not happened in the case of India, simply because India on that account is actually not in a position to bargain very hard, unlike China. So government of India wants to improve its position on the rare earth material, simply because this is the material that will build the new age economy, and that is where the statecraft lies. Also, if you just look at the AI data centers, that's also part of the statecraft, because data centers will create the economy of AI. And Indian government has been actually trying to create jobs in data centers. If you just look at the announcement by Indian players as well, be it Adani and Ambani's, plus Amazon has also announced a huge amount of investment in India. Google is also interested. So all these things, they increase the capex within a particular country, and that is what gives a boost to job creations in the economy. And so this is also part of that statecraft that you're talking about.
Last question. Do you think this budget can give us that 8% growth we so want?
Well, if you just look at the economic survey, that itself says that we will grow in the range of 6.8% to 7.2%. But 8% is a few basis points here and there. But it's not about 8% growth today, because more than anything else, what India needs to do at the moment is fix up the problems it is facing on the manufacturing front. And unless and until we fix our manufacturing, it would be very difficult for India to grow. It would be very difficult for India to grow at 8% rate in this global scenario, because exports have become very difficult. And unless and until you are very competitive in the exports market, in manufacturing game, it would be difficult for you to achieve that level of growth, because every country is becoming inward looking, and there is a lot of scrutiny of every deal that's happening at the moment. Even if we look at the mother of all deals, that is India EU FTA, the real impact of it will start coming only after a few years. Announcements come today, but it is said that FTAs, the major benefit of a good FTA is actually enjoyed by the next government, because that's the amount of time that it takes. But I would say that whether we arrange, whether the government of India manages to have 8% growth rate or not, we do not know. But I think the government is very of the fact that if it does not invest in improving its manufacturing processes, even 7% growth rate would not be possible in the long run. So government is focusing on reforms and on ensuring that the cost of capital comes down for Indian companies, and that's a long way process, and the government is in the right direction at the moment. But yes, a lot of things depend also on the execution. So let's see how things get executed on the ground.